Hello, it's Caroline here, and welcome to my feather painting, which I have done using acrylic pouring paint. This is an 8 by 12 inch canvas, and I'm putting a base coat which is fairly thin, and it's a really light blue colour. I mixed Wedgewood, Daler Rowney Wedgewood with some white just to give it a really pale blue background colour. And the consistency is pretty thin, about as thin as it would be for a Dutch pour, so really you're not getting any mound at all in the cup. And it's running off the stick quite easily. This is one of the really cheap canvases that I get, a pack of 3 for $4.99 in one of our discount shops, and they're really good quality. I just fancied doing a picture of a feather. I love my feathered friends down at the river, and although I have got the most beautiful swan feather, I was not going to use that. Instead, I had a feather from a pigeon that I managed to rescue from the side of the road, and we took him to the vet, and the vet kindly fixed his wing and took him down to a beautiful area in Northern Ireland and set him free, and we called him Cuthbert, and he left me behind one of his feathers, so I used that because feathers, they are waterproof, I reckoned, and I thought if I rinse them afterwards then I can just keep using them again and again. So this paint is just a little bit thicker than the base coat. It's just making a little indentation in the paint. Sorry, you just can't see it there. The colours I used are just some colours that I had left over, and they're more muted colours. So there's like a dark blue and a sort of grey green. That was like a dusky pink, and then this is a sort of purpley, reddy purple. I don't know that I've ever seen a bird with feathers that particular colour, but I had the paints to hand and I thought, well, I mean, really this was just an experiment, because I'm always experimenting with things. So what I've discovered was the best way to do this is to put the paint in the arch that you're going to place the feather, and not too close to the edges, because it's quite easy for the paint to go over the edge, and you don't really want to do that. You'll see in a minute. So I was just popping the air bubbles there and removing a blob that I seem to acquire from time to time in my paint. I actually got these picnic trays from the same place. I got the canvases and literally paid really little for 3 large picnic trays, I don't know, for sandwiches or something, and they're really easy. Just I can either pour the paint off into a cup and use it as a base coat. It'll mix, that's fine. You can't dry it on the plastic tray. Once it's dry it won't come off, but you can either just wash it off with soap and water or pour it into a cup. But that's my arch, so I haven't gone too near the edges, because the paint, it will expand, it will get bigger as I painting the feather. So that's some of the Docrafts Antique Gold I love, and I will put all the colours I've used in the description box as always. So I'm just really dotting the paint along. Really, if you put it in those, if you had them all in those paint bottles, you could just squeeze out in a line, which probably would be better. It wasn't really running off the stick as I had sort of wanted it to, but it doesn't really matter. And I was concentrating some colours at one end and some at the other. I really wasn't sure what I was doing here. I was just making it up as I went along. I haven't seen any birds with pink feathers, or greeny grey, but you know. We'll just put those colours up near the top. Now I only put 1 drop of silicone in the dark blue. That was the only one. If I use silicone, I use such a tiny amount because it just seems to go everywhere and I get far too many cells then. So just pop the air bubbles again. And with the feather, I just sort of gently got each little part, you know, expanded out a little bit, because they are sort of stuck together, those bits, so to give the feathery effect. So I'd never done this before. This was all just paint and see. As soon as I started using the feather, I could see, well, wow, this is working out well. I liked it. And it didn't really matter if the colours all mixed together. I don't think I actually cleaned the paint or the paintbrush, the feather, during the time that I was doing this. I just went with it with the whole time, with the feather as it was. Definitely a bit of a wacky colour for a feather. But as it was, I was just using up some paint, so didn't matter really. It was just an experiment. So I'm just trying to put the line down the center of the feather, still using the feather, of course. I suppose this is like a quill, isn't it, like they used to use in olden times. Not sure what sort of a feather that was that they would have used. I'm sure it wasn't a pigeon feather. I'm actually feeling quite pleased with how this has turned out, so definitely will have to try it again with different colours. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this and it inspires you to have a go. Sometimes you can tweak it a little bit too much just at the end. We don't really know whether it's finished or not. It's usually my problem, too much twiddling at the end. So I have been keeping an eye out on my walks for discarded feathers from our feathered friend, and I've got a bit of a collection now. So I was really pretty pleased with that as for my first go. Got a few cells in there, but I think it looks pretty as it is. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.